All right, just got all loaded up here, and our last stop here in Georgia from Crooked River. We're just in line. There's a RV in front of us at the dump station before we hit the road, and then we're heading to St. Augustine, Florida. We're gonna stay at looks like a private campground with a swimming pool, which is much appreciated with this heat, this southern Georgia heat, and obviously Florida will be in shortly.
So we came across the border. Routed through on our way to St. Augustine through Jacksonville, and huge bridge in Jacksonville. I think we were on the outer belt that kind of routed us around. The videos do not do justice. This bridge is so tall, and there was quite a bit of wind coming across the top, and the highway's busy. Little white knuckle, just I guess not growing up over these large bridges. It was not a fun route in my opinion, but anyway, got through it luckily. Wind wasn't too crazy, and came into downtown St. Augustine and to our campground resort as well. We kind of cut through downtown St. Augustine, which was really neat, and we stayed at a place called Ocean Grove Resort on A1A South. It's in St. Augustine address.
I knew a little bit about this place, but it looks clean, looks nice. It's a short little run in when you're pulling in to check in, about 2 deep, about the most you can get, and some of the RVs are unhooking their tow vehicles, so it's a little tight right here, but it's right next to the pool, right off the, I think it's the A1A is this. We actually came through, we came all the way down the A1A for, I guess, since Jacksonville Beach, which I'm glad we did. We got to see some awesome houses, and then coming into St. Augustine, it brought us right through the historic district of St. Augustine. Looks neat. We're gonna have to check that out for sure.
I think they've been open since 1979. Yeah, it's just like 7 miles south of downtown St. Augustine's historic district, and just a few blocks away from the Atlantic Ocean in St. Augustine Beach. Good spot to be on, and it's right off of A1A, so you can, out from the pool, you can kind of see the highway there. Pull right off into the parking lot. They have, I think, over 200 sites, cabins and park models as well. There's definitely some seasonal and full-time full-time setups there. People, at least, I don't know if they're living there necessarily or not, or just there for the winter months or so forth. But there was a lot of permanent sites, and not too bad of price. So it's full hookups. So we had water, electric, and sewer. 50 amp electric, and I think we paid about $60 per night. And there's a resort fee tagged on there in Florida as well, so that was an extra few bucks per night as well. But pretty well taken care of place overall. Our site had patio pavers in concrete. There was a lot like ours with patio pavers, but they weren't all identical. And then there were a few sites that were just a little bit of concrete and then some grass, and some of them were full pull-throughs. We were back in site, so they had some big rigs, Class A's in there too, but there were our lot wasn't super huge for much bigger of a setup than we're running, but they had some longer ones for the buses and so forth. Pet-friendly place, and I guess back to the pavers, it was really nice because we got a lot of rain while we were there, and it was nice not to be in the sand and the dirt, kind of like here. It's dry right now where I'm at in Florida, but it was nice with the rain to be able to deal with that. So first thing we saw, well, I guess we call it wildlife, because they have these long-necked turtles in their small pond out front next to the swimming pool, and there's next to the dog park. And I don't even know if we got any footage. We were looking forward to the dog park, but it feels like it's about a 10 by 10 square, 10 foot by 10 foot square of seashells. So if you have a really tiny dog, they might enjoy it, but our standard poodle Lily, it wasn't up to snuff. She wasn't even able to run at all. So they do have a dog park area. It is comically small, but beside that is the pond that they it appears they keep treated, but it's a no fishing pond. But they have these long necked turtles they obviously get fed by guests, because as soon as they see you or you walk over by the fence, they swarm the area where you're standing. They come over. They swim pretty quick too, when the head poking out. I don't know if I've got that on video, but I'll put it up if I do. And they may even have a couple different species of turtles in there, but the long necks were the most active, and they were coming all the way over and flying and like walking over each other to get to you. So they're getting fed. And the other little bit of wildlife there was just the tiny lizards, and actually similar to one of my previous trips to Florida, we saw tiny lizards everywhere, and we were kind of wondering on our way south through Georgia when we'd start seeing it, and it didn't happen until we got into Florida. So maybe they're right over the Georgia line, but the parks that we stayed in Georgia, we didn't really see any. And down here in Florida, they're everywhere, on the fence, jumping around. They're on our camper. These little, well, we might have saw some further north, but they're more prevalent down here, I'll put it that way. And some of the amenities and activities here at the Ocean Grove Resort that we kind of got to look at. So obviously they've got heated pool and a jacuzzi, poolside bar there. It's set up like a resort, nice spot. They have playgrounds, basketball courts, and a kind of a recreational hall indoor. And then on site, he had the dining spot that I think it was called Funkadelic Food Shack. Pretty good food. We ate there for lunch, and it's got a dog-friendly patio too. Drinks. They had some specials running. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. And then one of the nights, they had trivia. I think it was Thursday. And they had trivia starting like 6 to 8, and this place was packed. And it's open to the public, this restaurant bar combo at the front of the building, because there's a gate to get into the resort, and this is kind of in front of the gate, so public can come to it. And man, they had this whole place. It was like a gauntlet trying to walk through the back by the pool to go to the restroom. Very popular turnout for trivia. And they've got other perks, propane station. I know they did bingo another night. They've got laundry facilities, cable TV, things like that. And at the back of the property, there was a small boat ramp that I assume was usable for guests. I didn't see anybody dropping a boat in. And then they had a fishing pier out there as well. There were a few people fishing, and we walked the dog over there and tried to get a look at see if we could find any gators, which we didn't have any luck. But as far as the laundry facilities, pretty nice. They were near our lot, and there was we would have had to walk around, but there was an empty lot between us and the laundry or pull-through lot, so we were able to take a quick shortcut. But the washers and dryers were commercial grade, and I don't think they were even that expensive compared to some of these state parks that we see. And then they had restroom and shower house, and the restrooms and the laundry room and everything was all keypad locked, so they give you a code when you check in, so you can access everything, of course. And I mentioned earlier that small playground near the pool, not huge, but something for the kids to do. And then they had a basketball hoop and a court set up. And then we had a lot of rain, as I mentioned earlier. So one of the days, my son and I walked over. They have a recreational area in the front building right where you check in. My wife had seen in there when she was checking us in the day prior. And we went in there, were able to hang out for, an hour or two, and no one else was in there. But they had pool table, air hockey, foosball, and they had some TVs set up, and there was tables, like maybe they hold some events there from time to time. And then a small camp store as well at the same building when you check in. They had some different supplies. Not some different camping supplies and some snacks. I think they might have had some alcohol, if I recall. And so we spent as much time in the swimming pool, as you can imagine, as we could. Really nice swimming pool. We tried to get in when we could with all the rain, so we were kind of in and out depending on the day, and the rain would come and go, but sometimes it was there longer than others. But not busy, probably because of the weather, but maybe being in October. But the pool was heated. It was very comfortable. And then, of course, the hot tub's heated, right? So I think my watch said it was about 101 degrees. It felt great right next to the pool. And it had a covered porch on top of it. So if it would have been raining or something, you could have still enjoyed the hot tub, which was nice.
Lily and I are, hey Lily, we're heading to the Amazon locker down the road here. A lot of things we order, we are able to get it delivered to a locker nearby. It just works with your Amazon app and Bluetooth connectivity and pops the locker open when you select it. But some places you can do inside stores like Staples and UPS, and you can get a little bit larger items. The lockers are limited to some of the smaller stuff, but it's still nice to be able to utilize Amazon prime, overnight, couple day delivery while on the road.
So that on-site dining I mentioned in bar, the Funkadelic Food Shack, it was good food. We got dinner there one day after swimming, dried off and went in and sat. Actually, it was the same night they were doing the trivia. And the trivia was held out back kind of under the covered patio because that's the biggest space. And then we were up in the bar/restaurant area. It's a lot smaller, but it wasn't busy when we were there. They have happy hour drink specials and I think appetizer specials as well. And I assume during the season it's probably more popular, but they had a poolside bar and window that they open up. But it was good. We only ate there once just because we had some other food things and cooked there at the camper. But it was a good spot. It was good food for what it was. So yeah, downtown St. Augustine. We knew we wanted to go see St. Augustine. We hadn't been there before. And with all the rain, we're trying to get there. It would have been a really short drive, but there was some flooding and the roads were closed. The bridge was closed to get over to it, so we had to go around. It wasn't incredibly much further, but I think it turned in, a 10-minute drive into a 30-minute drive, and then traffic was all rerouted. But then on the sides, every side road was closed and closed from this rain. It wasn't just the rain, so they had gale force winds evidently pushing the water to shore, and then what they call King's Tide, which I understand that to be essentially the highest tide, of the year, this type of season. So that in combination with all the rain that fell, the flooding was a lot. Didn't get to our campsite, luckily. I guess in the back, some of the sites were a little bit underwater, closer to the boat ramp and so forth, but we never had any type of pooling or flooding, which was great.
Heading into the historic district of St. Augustine. We're going to see if we can find Fountain of Youth. We're heading over to lunch at this Columbia restaurant in downtown or historic St. Augustine. There's this really cool little bridge we were trying to go over to get some dash cam footage of it, but there's some flooding in front of it and they turned us around. The Cybertruck knew that and was rerouting us, but it was like a 30-minute drive versus an 8-minute drive plus where I wanted to go. So of course the truck was right. When we got to the bridge, the police were turning everyone around. I think the truck could have made it through, but they weren't letting anybody try it. So we'll head back the other way.
And so anyway, the downtown St. Augustine, for you who don't know, it's the oldest U.S. city. So it's founded in by the Spanish in 1565, and it is 100 blocks of downtown with cobblestone streets and colonial buildings. The little bit of history I was trying to look up because we were able to cruise around. We went there. I'll talk about we stopped to eat lunch, but we went kind of walked around. The buildings were really neat, and the roads and the walkways. But evidently the British ruled it 1763 through 1783, and they added some English-style homes to St. Augustine. And then once to the United States, Henry Flagler's 1880 hotel and started tourism boom back in the 1880s, evidently. And then since 1965, it's been protected. St. Augustine Historic District is a National Historic Landmark, and they have over 400 of the original buildings there. But real cool, we went to grab lunch and walk around a bit before the rain stopped. We ate at this restaurant called Columbia. My wife had heard about it or read a review on it, really good reviews. The Columbia restaurant is a family-owned spot. It's downtown in the St. Augustine Historic District. I guess it's on George Street, if you're familiar, but it's part of Florida's oldest restaurant chain. It started in Tampa in 1905 by Cuban immigrant Casimiro Hernandez Sr. And then the St. Augustine location opened later and they serve like classic Spanish Cuban foods and Mediterranean style setting. They hand-painted titles. The building is really cool. Fountains, got old family vibes. They've got like murals on the wall and so forth. We got, they have this classic Cuban sandwich, like original Cuban sandwich, was really good. But they had all kind of great food and drinks and anything you want. But kind of fancy, but there didn't appear to be a dress code. We were dressed casually, and it was there for lunch. Tons of tables, so they kind of had like a multi-level. I think it says 2 stories, but if it's set up almost like a multi-level stack, so they can seat a lot of people there if they have to. Food was great. They also validated our parking, because this area is really popular, so they just don't want people coming there and parking in their parking lot right behind their building and taking up the spots. So they have a guy working the parking lot and I think they validate you for a couple hours. And they actually even had a Tesla destination charger there, free use for their customers. So they let us plug in for a couple hours, which was nice of them. But yeah, so the historic district, they have shops, food, kind of small roads, brick cobblestone roads. You're walking around. Tours, they did like different tours. There's trolleys running all around. I think I got a couple of them on here. We didn't partake in that, but they were pretty busy. People running around in rain ponchos, and that place was pretty active for a weekday afternoon in the rain, that's for sure.
A second. Just ate at the Columbia restaurant down here. St. Augustine, great building, a lot of history. Highly recommend. They have a parking lot right behind it, and they validate for a couple hours. Then there's shops and everything all around, which you can walk around all this area. The historic district's really neat. Check it out.
But more rain. We just got in the truck in time after we left St. Augustine, and it just let loose again. And it was okay. I guess clean off the truck a little bit with the amount of rain we were dealing with. But we had to entertain ourselves one way or the other. So my son got a VR headset for his PlayStation 5, and we kind of tested that out a little tight in the camper. But we were able to get it to work pretty well, and he didn't knock anything over. And that get hurt, I guess, so that's good. And did I mention we got a lot of rain? Because it was a lot. I think I got some good shots of the pouring rain. But the cool thing is on Saturday, we were still there, and we were able to watch the Buckeyes game under the awning, and lucky enough for us, we just had a little bit of light rain that day, and the winds weren't too crazy, so we were able to keep the awning out and have the TV out and on. Little porch patio kind of a party, kind of a cloudy day, but it was still good to watch the Buckeyes game from the camper with we had Starlink rolling. Oh, I forgot to I did not get footage of this, and I should have. So we have Starlink. You might have seen it in our previous videos. We have this like little mini tripod we set up, and we came back from St. Augustine and someone had ran it over, and we are very lucky that it didn't damage the dish. It must have knocked it over first, but they completely destroyed the tripod and bent it all up, and it broke the Starlink bracket on the back of it free. Didn't damage the Starlink, and it unplugged the internet. And I didn't get it for whatever reason. I didn't catch it on the camera that faces the front. I readjusted afterwards, but I'm not sure what happened. Someone just wasn't paying attention. But fortunately enough for us, the dish was fine, and then I was able to order Amazon replacement. The tripod was cheap compared to the dish, so I got that replaced, and we actually just picked that up yesterday, so we're back in business. I was able to run it on the ground with the little mini stand that it comes with, but this one sits it up off the ground a little bit better, which I prefer, and gets out of the dirt if you need to. So anyway, back in business, but yeah, that we were able to keep the game going with the Starlink on Saturday. But overall, St. Augustine seems like a very cool place. I'd like to come back and spend some more time there. I have not been there. It's funny, the historic district and all the history that you learn about these towns is not even necessarily the reason we're staying there. Sometimes we're just picking a spot further south on our trip, because once we get into Florida, we've got some plans and where we're going to be. So this was just one of those. But St. Augustine had a really cool vibe in the downtown. And then the Ocean Grove Resort, I think was pretty nice for the price. So $60, pool, hot tub, food on site, restaurant on site, full hookups, paver, patio. Not the hugest site, but plenty. We didn't have much neighbors. Probably the weather had a lot to do with that. We were the only ones out there. Not the only ones. There were a few of us camping in this weather, but I think it's a great place to stay. I don't know how many other options are around there, but we had a good time. Good place to be. But up next, we head over to Ormond Beach, Florida, and Stone, Florida, of course, State Park, and we're going to stay and I guess this one's kind of similar where I am now, but we're going to stay in this tropical. We have a really cool campsite. It's kind of tucked in, and you got all these palms, and it kind of feels like you're in a jungle. And we're able to get Starlink there too, because there's a little gap, and I'm able to run it out towards the road, so that works out pretty well also. And then just a short drive over to Ormond Beach, and the restaurant. So we have a great time there, and spend a little bit of time on the A1A side and on the Atlantic coast. But I'll get that one out soon. That's next coming up. And thanks for watching if you're still here. See ya.